Hey, welcome back to the podcast, the Evil Dungeon Master Universe Podcast. I'm your host, Vince, the Evil Dungeon Master. It is middle of the week, Wednesday, hump day. Hopefully you're doing well. I know I am. I'm getting closer to 200 episodes here on Spotify. Since returning this full time, if you want to call it that. Numbers are doing quite well. I've noticed. When I reactivated this podcast back in April, I was putting out episodes, and I was maybe getting a handful of downloads, and it was discouraging. But I kept at it and had episodes out each day, and just kept plugging away. And now the numbers show, with some hard work, that you can get up to somewhat hundreds of episode downloads per episode once you start putting out content that people want to hear, and people want to hear AD&D apparently. So that's what we're going to talk about. So you can head over to my website, theevildm.com, and you can see all the projects I'm working on and all the videos I've done and some of the solo stuff I've done there as well. Ask the DM at theevildm.com is my email address. You can support me by going to buymeacoffee.com/theevildm, or yeah, that's it. You can click join on YouTube for 99 cents a month, and you could support me there and get access to videos ahead of time and a Friday night stream for members only, which is a lot of fun. We get wacky on Friday nights. Anyway, commercial stuff out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about AD&D. Keeping those fires lit. Keep throwing a log onto the fire. Something I was reading in the player's handbook, page. Let me get to the page number here. 40. The revised cover book is the one I had in front of me. Looking at character spells. Now, I'm not talking about the spells themselves. The description of character spells before you actually get into the spells themselves. There's a couple blurbs here talking about magical spells and how they work from a magic user and a clerical point of view. Now, obviously, it goes over how there's a somatic, there's a verbal, and then there's a material component, and explains what those things are. Okay, we got that. And then it goes over how a magic user spell goes and how, you memorize it. 15 minutes of game time for one spell for first level. And second level of spell would take 30 minutes. So imagine, doing a 8th level spell or something. It's going to take you forever to memorize that spell. But, once you cast it, it's gone because the symbols go out of your brain, because your brain can't carry that amount anymore. It's going to go poof. But the thing that I but I completely forgot about is the clerical area. And I'm going to read it for you, and then we can discuss it a little bit. Clerical spells, including the druidic, are bestowed by the gods, so that the cleric need but pray for only a few hours and describe the verbal and the desired verbal and somatic spell components will be placed properly in her mind. First, second, and third, and even fourth level spells are granted to the cleric through meditation and devout prayer. The spell giving is accomplished by the lesser servants of the cleric's deity. Fifth, sixth, and seventh level spells can be given to the cleric only by the cleric's deity directly, not through some intermediate source. Sorry, folks, but eye is still healing after I scratched it, so some words are fluctuating around for me. Note that the cleric might well be judged by his or her deity at such time, as the cleric must supplicate the deity for the granting of these spells. While the deity may grant such spells full willing, a deed or a sacrifice, atonement, or abasement may be required. The deity might also ignore a specific spell request and give the cleric some other spells, or just none at all. Your dungeon master will handle this considering a cleric's alignment and faithfulness to it and his or her deity. Note that some clerical spells and all druid spells also require material ingredients in order for the desired effect to take place. Components must be supplied by the cleric or druid as material is not bestowed. So, these are some of the things that we read originally when we play these games, and then as we play over the years. And, this game's been around for 50 years or whatever. And this is something that I absolutely forgot, that a deity could be like, no, you can't have that. You can have this instead. It's something that I probably just kind of hand waved and just assumed because of all the other things I have to deal with as a DM. And I found it interesting that this is here written as such that when you get to the higher levels, you have to be on your best behavior as a cleric and be in the and be faithful to your deity. Otherwise, they might be like, no, you can't have these spells. First, second, third, and fourth level spells you can easily have, but anything above that, you have to make sure that your cleric is a devoteful follower of the deity himself. So your cleric will have to be going around, have you heard the good word of St. Cuthbert? Or something to that matter. So your cleric will probably have to do something to atone, and the DM has another thing to, kind of keep track of when it comes to the campaign itself. I kind of like that idea that when you get up at higher levels that you have that little bit of worry that you won't get a certain spell. And while, yeah, I mean, how much of a dick do you want to be as a DM? Do you really want to decline the spells of a cleric because they did one bad thing? Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess you could if the cleric, didn't do something in the name of the god or, the deity. You would want to say, I'm sorry, you can't have these spells. What do you mean I can't have these spells? You heard me. I am your god. I'm telling you, you're not allowed to have these spells. So, you could do something like that and maybe say, you must atone for your actions upon the mountain of the high top. When the moon turns bright, I want you to sacrifice this in the name of me so you may have these spells, or something along the lines, or maybe even send the cleric on a quest for the god in his name to do something. Maybe he wants you to go find an NPC and recruit somebody in the faith. Then you could do a whole mission on that, though it might be a little bit dull. I don't know. And might be getting too religious like, but that would be part of something a deity would want. They want you to get in there and do something for atonement or sacrifice or do some type of deed. Maybe I want you to go to town and establish a new temple in my name. See if you can get 10 followers and hand it over to some budding cleric or something like that. That could be something of a deed to do. And maybe while it'd be probably a perfect side adventure type thing for you. Or maybe what you can do is have a one-on-one session with him and just go through it so the rest of the group doesn't have to deal with it. I think that you can grant the spells, but the cleric said in the future, due to the actions, I may limit your spells, but I want you to do the following. And it could be, like I said, a quest or a sacrifice or like building a temple in his name, honoring the god somehow. That would probably be the better way to do it, as opposed to being like, no, you can't have these spells whatsoever because you were a dick one day, or something stupid like that. That's how probably I would handle that. But I just found it interesting that I completely forgot about this rule that Gary had wrote about clerics not having not getting their spells if they do something that's wrong, something that you have to track. Much like when I was reading the True Neutral spell, because I was going through the whole thing, and it's one alignment I can't stand. Is True Neutral, by the way. It's one of those alignments that people are like, oh, I want to play True Neutral, but no one can be True Neutral. Sorry. And as a DM, I'm not going to sit there and, like it says, keep a chart of how you are progressing in your alignment just so I can keep track of it. I have so many other things to do then I'm not going to do that. And I agree with Kevin Sambidia in Palladium's alignment chart system. No one could ever truly be actual true neutral. So, yeah, that's probably a hot take opinion that no one's going to agree with, but I don't care. I don't allow true neutral in my campaign. You want to play a druid? Fine. You have to be either a chaotic good, evil, or neutral good or neutral evil, or something like that. Or chaotic neutral or something. Maybe chaotic neutral will be a little bit better for a druid, but I hate the alignment true neutral. It just doesn't work in campaigns, and I don't want to have to sit there with a player and track the stuff and then argue with them later on about why they're not playing true neutral correctly. And players will argue about it. And I've had the situation happen. And my experience is my experience, I know. Anyway, that's enough about clerics and true neutral stupid alignment. Let's head out for the day. Hopefully you're having a great Wednesday. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless. And don't forget, keep those AD&D fires lit. Good night, everybody.